Well, Heidi-ho, neighborinos, and salutations, oh my brothers and sisters. It is I, Atom Amoeba, your humble narrator and friendly neighborhood wolfman. And if you are hearing the sound of my voice, it means one thing and one thing only. That you have found yourself on the chance with your sweet, adorable little ear holes open and eagerly receptive at the same simultaneous point and time and space that you happen to have your radio on and receiving signal, and that at the same simultaneous point in time and space you also happen to have it turned to KRBX Radio Boise, somewhere out there in Caldwell, Boise, or the great beyond. And, above all else, at the same simultaneous point in time and space, your friends here at Tree City 1 AM happen to be broadcasting a show made entirely with the blood, sweat, tears, and the starchy love of your fellow potato citizens. That's right, and as a matter of fact, an added bonus, you happen to be tuned to this broadcast on the first episode of a very special summer-long series event where we invite friends from our beloved hometown hip-hop scene and we share good vibes, good music, and the goodiest and spookiest of true tales from our crazy lives and the crazy world around us. We're talking Bigfoots in bars, aliens in mixtapes, ghosts, goats, and all the creatures and features to keep you up all night with a flashlight ablaze. Tonight we're in for a particularly special treat as we're joined by my rhyme slayer friend and armchair cryptozoological hunter, the one and only Krevas of underground hip-hop notoriety and Boise, Idaho acclaim. So grab a rock, pull up a tree stump, and get cozy while we put another log on these embers and get to more of the music and urban legends that feed our community here on community radio KRBX Radio Boise. This is 89.9, 93.5 FM. This is Tree City 1 AM, and this is Campfire Stories Summer Special Episode 1. Welcome back, friends, lovers, enemies out there. We hope you count this as atonement. If you're only now joining us, tonight is a special event. Tonight is the first episode in our Campfire Stories Summer Series. And we already started tonight off with FTW2 from Krevas, our special guest tonight, in here in the studio for the remainder of this 2-hour event. And that track is off the upcoming Mr. Turn That Shiz Up that will be dropping sometime in August to conclude the summer break, right around the same time that we conclude this summer series. So once again, you are now joining us for the inaugural episode of that special 12-week event, the Campfire Stories Special Summer Series, running all summer long for 12 weeks of total between now and the end of August. In this series, we take some time out from our busy schedules to disconnect from society, technology, and the comforts of an otherwise modern lifestyle as we run to the hills, to the mountains, to the lakes, and to the rivers that surround us here in beautiful Boise, Idaho, and specifically to the banks and to the campsites upon which we build our campfires, our memories, and our human connections. And we do that through sharing the age-old traditions of storytelling and a mutual love for the creepy, the crawly, and the otherwise bumpy things in the night. One of those predators on the prowl, one of those creatures in the darkness that's been making moves from the underground, the subterranean threat, infiltrating your ears, infiltrating your pop culture from right here in your sweet little hometown, sweet little Mama La Bois Bois, the dearest of Pacific Northwest cities right beneath our feet. And our guest tonight is representing it well, a native, a hometown hero, and one of my good friends, fast becoming even better friends. This is Krevas. Krevas, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Yes, absolutely. Who better to spend a night around a campfire talking music, talking the creepy, the crawlies, the supernatural, perhaps the paranormal, the strange and bizarre in general. Who better than Krevas of Farsighte Music? Krevas, you were on here, oh gosh, we're looking at probably about 100 days ago.
Ooh.
With all of Farsighte Music. And I know you've been busy in the meantime since we last talked. What have you been up to?
You know, truth be told, just music, man. Pretty much that's what all of Farsighte's been doing lately. We've just been behind the scenes, just cooking, just nonstop. And one of the main things for sure is after we left here, that last time all of Farsighte was here, that was actually one of the biggest motivators for everyone to kind of kick things into gear. Everyone's got projects in the works now, some coming out soon, some a little bit later, but I mean, like it's at a point now where we're having a hard time sharing a microphone when we're all in the studio together, because everyone's cooking something. And I will say, at least it's some amazing stuff nonetheless, like some of the best that Farsighte has to offer right now.
That's great to hear. Yeah, one thing I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are you're an easy follow because you're always busy. So there's always something to check in on and to watch. I'm always getting updates. Mm-hmm. And your family's grown a little bit.
Yeah.
In the last several weeks.
Yeah.
Has that been a part of that uptick in activity, or is that are they pretty self-sufficient? Are you guys contaminating very much right now? And tell us a little bit about who this is and what's that all about.
Yeah, so actually that's really funny you mentioned that, because that also has kind of been a big strive for us lately. So we have our boys, Pleasantville. They are basically some honorary members of Farsighte, and we got our boy Forte and our boy Roy. They're killing it, bro. They are definitely self-efficient for sure, but having them pop through in the studio now, being honorary, you're going to come through. You're going to be laying down tracks. We're going to be laying down tracks for them. But they've been making some excellent stuff ever since they've kind of started coming through. And I got to say, they're some of the most talented kids I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Like the talent that they possess already at such a young age, baffles me. It kind of makes me jealous that I wish I was that good when I was their age, but there's some talented dudes, and it's been a blessing having them in and around us.
Well, that's actually, that's saying a lot coming from you and your clique, considering you're all so young, relatively speaking, and started so early. That's saying a lot. And, Pleasantville, anybody out there who may be wondering who Pleasantville, to the uninitiated out there, the latest addition to Farsighte Music, as we've been talking, and also the crafters of a track we've played quite regularly within the last few weeks, A Little Bit of My Time. We play it right about the mid-hour because it specifically talks about tuning into this station, 93.5 KRBX Radio Boise, and specifically tuning in for Tree City 1 a.m. So how could we not? They delivered with a great track, and I wish I could play it more, to be honest. And a lot of that is sentiment that's echoed from, obviously, I was gushing about Farsighte last time you guys were in here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I've calmed down a little bit, and I've gone through more and more of your library, and it's awesome that you guys have so much coming out. So we're going to touch on 3 different projects of yours specifically. This is just one individual of Farsighte.
Yeah.
We're touching on 3 different projects tonight. Can you give us a little preview what to expect, and maybe just a segue into this next one? We got, after the next couple messages, we're going to be hearing Dead on Arrival will be the next Krevas track.
Yeah. So what that one is off of, which was FTW2, those 2 songs are going to be on a project called Mr. Turn That Shiz Up, as you said. And basically, it's kind of going back to my roots a little bit, but just more enhanced, because everything that I make, I self-produce. So all the beats and everything I usually am directly hands-on, but Mr. Turn That is a project where I'm going back to the YouTube beats and, just working off some of the best stuff you can find on YouTube, and just kind of just doing some hard stuff, just like getting to the gritty, grimy, but like concert-friendly material again. A lot of people recognize more of my solo material as like more introspective and like I guess you could say in a sense family-friendly maybe, but going to the hard stuff and just finding the most grimiest banging YouTube beats is just like unlocked this new chapter of me, and like I want to make sure I deliver that for the people who just want something to turn on in their car and just go nuts,
Yeah. So when I make music, particularly when I am writing lyrics, I find that it's easier to write to a beat that I didn't produce myself, because it's fresh and it might inspire something unexpected out of me, to kind of meet it halfway and meet the energy of a track that is already wrapped up and complete and fully produced, or at least produced enough that I'm catching a vibe off of it. So how has that changed your process going back to that sort of found material, found beats? Does that affect it at all, or are you taking a step to the side? Are you taking 2 steps back, 3 steps forward? Like, how do you feel about that?
It's definitely a different approach, because being so hands-on with any of the beats I make, I'm basically crafting what I envision it to be from the jump. But with the YouTube beats, you're basically having to pick up from somewhere already. And I find that in a way to be a different type of challenge. Basically, like, just trying to find something that works with any of the beats I make. Like I said, you're starting from somewhere and working your way towards somewhere. But with YouTube beats, you already got something. So it's like, okay, what can I do to work around what this other completely random person made, but make it sound good? Because it's pretty common that when someone's rapping on a YouTube beat, usually it's not that good, or like they're not putting their full effort into it. But it's just approaching it with like, how can I complete the evolution of this song? Like, I got the material already, now I just got to lay something really freaking dope over it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. And I have a lot of fun working from a place of using found objects. That's why there's so many samples involved with Tree City. Is that to me, I like the restriction to my creativity, that if I can produce anything just on a whim, if I were the most talented composer and musician out there, I don't know if I would enjoy flexing that muscle as much. Sometimes it's fun to flex the other muscle and just work with what you have.
Yeah, that's another way to put it, is just like getting back to just rap. You can curate, you can compose, but just at some point you got to go back to just like the love, just spitting some good stuff. I almost think of it as like a training, some like athletic training. You got to keep your game up. Like, okay, can I still spit like this? And reminding yourself that you can is essential. Keeps your pen game strong.
100%. And that is actually a great segue into the next one. We're going to hear a couple messages, and then it will be Dead on Arrival from Krevas. This is another new track. The next song you will hear is Dead on Arrival from Krevas of Farsighte Music. Once again, you're listening to Tree City 1 a.m. late night, every Saturday night here on KRBX Radio Boise 89.9, 93.5 FM. And tonight's a special occasion. It's the first in our summer series of campfire stories for 12 weeks, and we thought who better to launch this special event off with than the one, the only Krevas, who's joining us around the campfire tonight.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we hope to see plenty more faces throughout the summer and music like we're hearing tonight. Now, this last track, Dead on Arrival, is a special track. It wasn't one initially planned for this evening. Krevy and I have been talking about this for a while now. What happened with this track, Krevis?
So I basically had started writing it at like 8 o'clock this evening and recorded it. I even went through and cleaned up all the bad words out of it. And I had it sent over here to Adam probably about like 10:30. I was like, bro, I'm so sorry it was later, but I got this for you. Like, you should play it if you can. He's like, all right, bet.
Hot off the presses. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if anything fresher than that has ever hit the KRBX airwaves other than a live performance.
Yeah.
That has to be like, and that's lightning speed. That's just a testament to how Farsighte's putting out so much work all the time. That's awesome. So 2.5, 3 hours tops total, and that was a custom track, Dead on Arrival, a single exclusive at this point. You can't get that track anywhere else than right here around the campfire, right here on Tree City 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we love Krevas. That's why we love Farsighte music. That's why we love the music that Krevas and Farsighte make. They're just little love bombs for all of the sweet Boise, Idaho babies who are coming around trying to make some s'mores with us right now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope if you're out there, you're either sitting around your own campfire in real life, far from the reach of this broadcast, although we make it pretty far up into those hills. Otherwise, I hope you're joining us in heart, in mind, and in spirit as you sit with us around these tunes. We're listening to Krevas tracks. We got 6 total throughout these 2 hours for this special event, representing the past, the present, and the future. And we have a special story from Krevas himself. We have a campfire story. We're going to turn the flashlights down low. We're going to let only the glow of the flames light our faces. And we're going to get a little spooky. We're going to get a little strange. We're going to get a little bizarre. Krevas, after this, we have another track coming up from your expansive and ever-expanding catalog. Once again, we're going to hear a couple messages from our team here at Tree City. We're going to hear one bumper track, and then the next one from Krevas is Them Hills. Krevas, what's a little intro to this one?
So, basically, Them Hills is a track that was recorded 5 years ago, almost on the day. Basically, essentially what's happening is on the 9th, so in a couple days, I guess you could say tomorrow, technically, there'll be a 5-year anniversary release of my first solo project ever. It's called Granger 5 Mile Edition. It's the complete Granger project, remastered and expanded, with a bunch of bonus tracks that some people have heard before and some that nobody's ever even really heard before. Even some boys in Farsighte never heard them before, like deep cuts. And basically what I wanted to do with that is basically do it for the OG fans. Like, hey, 5 years is a long time. A lot of my fans have grown with me, you know. And basically it's just the problem with the original version was that it was super muddy, not mixed well. just kind of some rookie moves for someone back in the day, like when I was doing that, like very still learning the technical aspects of everything. So bringing it for the OGs where they can hear things that they may have not heard before, in terms of like the instrumentals or some of even the ad libs, but also for the new fans that have been catching up to my catalog. It's like, okay, here's where it kind of started, but you don't have to listen to the crappy version,
Right.
And Them Hills is basically one of the first tracks on it, and it basically perfectly encapsulates what the vibe is of Granger for anybody who doesn't know what Granger is.
So other than the anniversary of the 5 years and kind of what you're describing, renewing it, a lot of artists, they'll put their old work on a shelf, never think about it again, never touch it, or they'll cringe if they even consider listening to it. So other than the obvious, what you just mentioned, and the anniversary, what motivates you to go back and have a backwards lens? Is it simply that fact that you know you can do it better, or is it kind of a more personal nostalgia? What are you getting out of it personally that you can't necessarily share with someone else?
Yeah, honestly, I would say it's probably a mix of both of those things. The way that I was making music back then was a lot different comparatively to now, and it's just kind of cool going back through that old discography and kind of picking up what I used to do, while also at the same time, like, hey, like, this journey is mine, but it's also the listeners too, like my fans. They've been there, and I'm sure, like, for anyone who's really like down with our stuff, I'm sure they want to hear some of the ones that didn't quite make it. Like, why not? Because I know whenever I'm going through any type of other artists, like anniversary projects or remasters or whatever, when there's something new on it, I'm gonna check it out. Sometimes it's some really good stuff that maybe I'm like, why wasn't this on the original project? And that's kind of how I want the vibe to be on this one. It's like, oh, here's all this, how come this didn't make it? But also now it holds its place as, now it kind of is, just, on the back end,
Yeah, and then kind of embracing that degree of separation that you now have from it in order to be more objective. It's kind of strange when personally I've gone back and had experiences reviewing older stuff, and the things that were maybe bothering me about it, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it before, are so obvious once you go back with a more experienced mind about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost as if it had never been completed, even though it was in some prototype iteration to begin with. It's almost as if it didn't have the final touch, or it didn't have that cherry on top until you allowed it the time and the space to breathe,
Yep.
and yourself the time to improve, or at least gain the insight and the perspective to be able to point out what maybe just wasn't clicking initially, right?
Yeah.
So I actually appreciate that, and I've actually been dying to ask you, because one of the things that helped us really hit it off is we just simply have a lot of stuff in common. We like a lot of the same music, and it's even down to the fact we come from the same neighborhood. And so I'm a generation older than you, but I was actually growing up, we went to the same high school. I was growing up, and I was making raps and making beats in bedrooms at 5 Mile and Granger myself.
Really?
No joke, bro. In fact,
Wow.
yeah, so like my best friend's house, it's a 2-story house about halfway back on Granger.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that album cover. I've been looking at that
Yeah.
and trying to kind of like work, cuz it I can tell, like
Where
where
it
it's
is,
at.
yeah.
Right. And so No, I was just curious, like if you don't mind, just go into that a little bit, because this is going to be so niche that if you're not a true Boise person, it's not going to matter to you, because we're literally talking the cross section of two neighborhood streets. But I grew up the second half of my youth a few blocks away on Lupin. I was in between Lupin and Poppy
Yep.
on Constantine.
Yeah.
And then I had all my friends over there in like the Camelot, Lancelot
Yeah.
neighborhoods. And then my best friend that I made all of my beats with was right there on Granger. So like I said, I'll pull up when we're off the air. I'll pull up the house and show you, because you'll know the house I'm talking about. And it's
Yeah.
developed obviously a lot more. What years were you there?
If I remember correctly, I believe I was there from 2014 until about, I want to say 2016. Maybe just about to hit 2017, roughly around there.
That's crazy, yes. Because
Yeah.
so I graduated and I left that area in 2004. So it was exactly 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years. That's awesome. And so it's crazy too, because that's one of the things that I really responded to with Farsighte music immediately was the sound. And I mentioned it several times. This was the sound that we were trying to achieve when we were young, that we never quite captured. And that's something that I think is evident on all Farsighte tracks and projects. I'll call them projects that I've heard. And it's crazy that it is so specific to literally the neighborhood streets. So I think what's happening here is perhaps our first experience of Boise growing up,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
thing that we've been kind of looking for, man, where
Yeah.
it's like 10 years apart, brothers from other mothers,
Yeah.
like sharing some weird sort of neighborhood DNA.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't wait to have Wishy back on too, because like I said, I can close my eyes and hear influences in your guys' sound that someday we're just gonna sit down and go through a library of tracks and just like bounce them off one another. In the meantime, we're gonna get back to the program, because we don't only have music talk for you. We don't only have Boise talk for you. We don't only have Tree City 1 a.m. love to spread between here and the community, the listeners, the people making community radio, the people making radio in the community work, people like Krevas. We're here. We're celebrating the past, the present, the future, and Campfire Stories, our summer series, which is going to last for the next 12 weeks, the entire summer. And that entire summer is going to be filled with a lot of important dates we were talking about. So Krevas has several drops. We already touched on some. Mr. Turn That Shiz Up, which will be sometime in August. Remind me of the other release dates there, Krevas.
So the Granger 5 Mile edition will be dropping tomorrow, technically, so the 9th. And then there will be one more we'll discuss a little bit more, called Sun Will Set Another Day. And that one will be dropping July 25th on the dot.
Busy summer. And in other news, just for funsies, those Pleasantville cats that we mentioned earlier will have a show coming up on Tuesday, July 1st, right in the middle of all that other Farsighte activity at 7 p.m. And rumor has it, to those who are patrons of this show, they may receive some sort of swag. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I heard some cool things. Come through. If you're some of the first few, you could be getting some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically their actual jobs are actually graphic designing and printing merchandise.
Oh, really?
And some of the sneak peeks that we got, I'm gonna need to give myself a few. I'll drop a few dollars. I don't care. Them pieces are hot. They're nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to look cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get back to it. We're going to play some more from Krevas. We may even play a Pleasantville track if we have time, but I want to get to the spooky stuff. So let's get back to it right now. How you doing over there, Krevas?
I'm vibing, bro.
How do you like the campfire?
It's beautiful. I'm relaxed.
Staying toasty?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know it.
Keeping the bugs away. We got the stars above us. Nothing but the sounds of nature around us. No technology plugged in right now. We're off the grid. Where did we go camping in our imaginary little camping trip here? Do you have a favorite spot?
You know, truth be told, I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
Are you not the camping type, Krevas?
I am. I just don't go as much as I wish I could.
True, yeah. I hear that. As you know, I recently got back from Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley was nearly burned last year.
Yeah.
It's quite apocalyptic now on the way in, but that means for great mushroom hunting. I don't know if you've ever gone mushroom hunting, but morels grow great in recent burns. I once made out with probably about 25 pounds of morels on a burn past Idaho City, just accidentally that time. But other than that, the camping was great. It was cool, and I swear Boise went up about 10 degrees while I was gone.
It's very possible.
That was the weekend of, what did we recently have, Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Memorial Day, yeah. And so one thing that I want to do as we continue these summer traditions and get some new summer traditions started is I want to start having a hip-hop barbecue.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe like the third Sunday of every month of the summer, we're going to start a Tree City hip-hop barbecue.
That'd be beautiful.
Would you come and get some nosh, and maybe we can get some, put like a PA out there, and we can get a little cipher going while we all enjoy some sunshine and some good food and some good people. Free food, free music.
I'm down.
Free people.
Yeah, easy. That's the easiest invitation I've ever gotten. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And then we'll get you out a little further. We'll get you out a little into the sticks if you haven't been camping recently, because there's nothing goes better with summertime in Idaho than camping and hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange mix. Those more urban fans out there may not know about this, but nature and hip hop go quite well together.
They do. I can attest for that. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, get out there with your favorite substance or two. Enjoy the fresh air. Like I said, enjoy the disconnectivity, as I do.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone's burning up my phone line anyway. But it helps me feel better a little bit to get out there and just ignore those who may be ignoring me for a change.
Exactly.
One thing that we wanted to mention also, if anybody's been listening, there's been a lot of talk recently about Boise gossip. So if there's one thing that you want to dive into, check out Boise gossip. Our friend Hakeem Prime has been doing the opposite of what we're talking about. He's been connecting, he's been plugging away. So if you're so interested, I can't give you any more information right now because it's not available right now, but check out Boise gossip if you so choose, and you won't be disappointed. And you may recognize a questionably handsome mug on the thumbnail of his most recent video. I don't know how that happened. Apologies in advance. Krevas, we're going to play another track from you right now. This is First time for anything. Where does this fit into your whole project scheme that you were describing earlier?
So this one is also off the Granger 5 Mile Edition. This one is a little special to me, the song specifically, because it's a song about my first expedition with a certain plant of sorts. And it's just a fun track. Like, it just details pretty much one of the best nights I could have had as a teenager. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to the vibe and kind of what I talk about. Like, if you really listen to the words, it's just like, I feel like it encapsulates that first type of experience for a lot of people. Because we don't get that kind of experience really anymore as you get older. You know, you've done it before. But what was, like I said, there's always a first time for anything. So when your first time is an amazing one, this song encapsulates that. Best to say.
I like it. Okay. Have you been trying anything new lately of a different variety, just in general, while we get this queued up? Anything new for your summer? Any new plans?
You know, so far the plan is just we've been hitting a few concerts lately. We recently just went to Yellow Wolf while he was here. He hadn't been here in probably about, I want to say, 6 to 7 years, so that was really nice.
Sold out event?
It was, yeah. It was awesome. Aside from that, the plan is just, I guess, try to go to more concerts. We're trying to go to Ramirez when he gets here, but we're just kind of thugging it out a little bit. Aside from that, just music. Just dropping music. Try to film some videos. We're trying to get some music videos done. I guess that's probably about it. The life of a creative doesn't go much further than just making what you love.
And being creative, yep.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get to First Time for Anything from Krevas, a recent piece of creativity from the man himself. Actually, this is the oldest but from a recent rework that's going to be coming out technically tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
That was kind of a strange journey we just went on there, wasn't it?
It sure was.
I feel like someone slipped something into my kombucha or something. But we're back, and thank you for hanging with us. You, once again, have tuned into Tree City 1 a.m. Here, we are taking over the second hour normally occupied by Sonic Moon. Typically, we sign off by now about 24 minutes ago, but we're rounding the hour up all the way through 3 a.m., the witching hour, when everybody should be well at home, hopefully safe and sound by then. But we're staying out, we're staying up late. We have the virtual campfire ablaze. We have the stars overhead where we can watch them shoot by and try to keep up with those satellites. There's a strange line of lights crawling across the sky like some technological caterpillar. And here, to my right, I have my good friend Krevas enjoying the warmth of the flames with me.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much for being here. We've spent the evening so far enjoying the camaraderie of hip-hop music, checking out a bunch of different projects you have, catching up on things you've been working on in the meantime, talking about mutual people we know, people like Pleasantville, and just all the activity in Boise right now. It is summertime.
Yes, sir.
This is my favorite time. Probably May and June are my favorite times of year here in the great Shoshone-Bannock Paiute territory we call home. What's your favorite summer activity to do right here in the beautiful, beautiful Gem State?
Ooh. Honestly, as basic as an answer it is, it's just got to be being out and about as whenever I can. Just being around community, just taking in everything. Doesn't matter if it's in the city, outside the city, just being anywhere I can. The presence of everything during the summer alone is what kind of fuels me. I'm a Leo baby, so summer's like my jam. Like, it's in my blood. So just being able to experience the warmth and like seeing everybody all out and about, enjoying themselves, is what I would say brings a little bit of peace to my mind.
I can totally agree with that, especially around here. I realized actually, and it's something that I've often thought of before, but perhaps not as explicitly, but when I was actually en route to meet you here, around the campfire here in an undisclosed location deep within the heart of the city of Boise. When I was on my way here, I realized one thing that I wait for, and it's very specific to this time of year, every single year, is the smell of nighttime.
Yes, sir.
In summer, Boise, Idaho. In the city of trees, you can smell the sage coming off the hills. You can smell the cotton trees lining the river, the cottonwood. And it's something that you only ever get here, that high desert terrain mixing with the woodland, mixing with that 10-degree temperature drop that you get as you approach the water.
Yep.
We all know what that is, right? If you don't, if you're not from here, if you're listening in that great beyond that we like to broadcast to here in KRBX, there is a warmth, there is a sweet and motherly embrace that the nighttime wraps around you in these still hot, still cooling desert nights. They don't even cool down from the day. They just keep you nice and toasty as you navigate clouds of mosquitoes. And if you're entering the foothills, perhaps even armies upon armies of beetles underfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's very niche to this area.
Yeah.
Here in Boise, Idaho, we have the unique opportunity of keeping 1 foot in nature and 1 foot out of nature at all times. And I think we were kind of talking about how Boiseans can smell Boise on each other a little bit. We're unbeknownst, but in total, it makes total sense. We're from literally the same neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up, at least some portions of our youth, within hundreds of feet of one another. We probably walked the same sidewalks.
Plenty of times.
May have known some of the same families. That same old guy that yelled at me may have been the same old guy that yelled at you. And so there are these mutual connections that we have through time and space, but they're bound by locality, and that's something that is also represented by the campfire tonight, in these places, these mutual spaces that you can go to commune with not only your friends, your lovers, your haters, your enemies, and anyone else you choose to spend time with, but also with nature and with the wildlife and with the vibes in general all around. There's always a dark side to that, however. That's the weird stuff that goes on there. We've mentioned Bigfoot a couple times. No one responded in the chat when I asked who believe in Bigfoot. Look at that. We had like a super active chat. Yo, Krevas on the radio. Yo, Krevy on the mic. Farsighte always working. Shout out to the Ville. 6 thou in the house. Play Pilly Wonka. Like, this is the most active the chat's ever been. There's like Naruto characters. Darkened. There's some weird fuzzy green thing. They're talking about Oompas, and then I get in there, I say, who believe in the Bigfoot?
And nothing.
And the party dies.
You scared them away.
Like I dumped the pizza. I guess so. Yeah. That's the problem?
Maybe that's some lore.
It's counterintuitive. If you don't believe in things, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
That's why Bigfoot, like, nobody wants to hang out with me at this point, not even in the chat. That's why I can't encounter a Bigfoot.
Maybe you are Bigfoot.
Yes, I'd like to think so, but I'm 10 and a half, 11's tops, depending on the brand.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a lot for me, so, you know, I'm not struggling, at least.
Yeah.
I'm not struggling. But, Krevy, I want to share a campfire story with you. Can I share a campfire story with you? I'll go first.
Of course.
I'll go first. Have you ever heard of, this is actually a very creepy, true crime, super hyper local Boise story. We're both Boise guys. Have you ever heard of the Boise murder house?
You know, I don't think I have.
You may have seen it. It is a legitimate house. It is a true story. It's something that I picked up on back in 2004, right when I was leaving the neighborhood we were talking about at 5 Mile and Granger, right? And so we had a group of friends. We all went to Centennial at the time. And that same best friend I was telling you about off air that we made hip hop with on Granger, him and I, we each had sort of our high school girlfriends. And both of our high school girlfriends were a year behind. So while we graduated, they were still seniors. And we spent that summer sort of hanging around. And we were the cool guys with cars. We could drive around. We were getting Ouija boards. We were trying to find all these haunted locations. We're 18-year-olds not living at home anymore. We didn't know what to do, and we had girlfriends willing to go with us in tow, right? So speaking of those crazy beetles that flood the foothills, we went up to the military reserve cemetery up there with the Ouija board once. We went to the Caldwell Cemetery to find the Midnight Jogger. Ooh. That's another local urban legend. I don't know if you've ever caught on to that one. And that's also part of the story. And I also found out at the time about this murder house. This was something that we were researching, trying to find haunted places. Now, I'm showing you the picture right now. I'll drop the link in the chat if anybody else is interested. But does that house look familiar to you at all? It's off from Broadway at Linden. And what's the other street? It's also an L name. Does that look familiar to you at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's looked the same way for about 20 years now. It's decrepit. It's run down. It looks like it's not being taken care of. And that is because it is a murder house. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat right now, and then we're actually going to hear a news story on this murder house before I tell you what happened with us. Does that work?
Yeah.
On June 30th, 1987, this house was surrounded in crime tape. A trail of blood splattered the porch, sidewalk, and the front door of a neighbor's home. Investigators traced the trail of blood to the basement where Preston Moore was shot in the head and hacked up into 13 pieces. A week later, parts of his body surfaced over 100 miles away. Now the rumor is that this 21-year-old man will forever haunt this home, and even non-believers believe it's created an urban legend.
Living there, I really don't feel that I was never afraid or felt that it was haunted, but there are so many stories. I mean, everybody's convinced that it is.
Every once in a while, you'd get that one person it's this house? No, I'm not going in there. No, I'm not going.
It looks like a feral animal, like something really pretty, but no one wants to go near it.
For Deanne Davis and her daughters, living in this home was, for the most part, normal.
I'm not uneasy in the house. I'm not afraid at any time. I don't feel there's somebody watching me. I've never experienced doors open when I shut them, or I never heard people walking on the stairs when there was nobody.
But they did say something wasn't quite right.
I felt like there was something kind of there, kind of not. When I went into the basement, it was dark and I was scared. And when I go in there, I was like, get me out, get me out, get me out. So I felt like there was something there and I don't even want to go near it.
Built in the early 1900s, this home stands out for both its size and architectural styling. But it's what happened inside these walls that makes it infamous. Court documents only tell us that Preston Murr was in the basement of the home with Daniel Rogers and Darren Cox when, for an unknown reason, an argument broke out and Murr was shot in the shoulder. Bleeding profusely, Murr ran outside to a neighbor's home, pounding and smearing blood on the front door while telling his attackers to let him go. The neighbor called 911 and witnessed a man being dragged back into the home.
Okay, what's the problem there?
I don't know. A couple of guys came up and beat on the door, and I went out and looked, and there's some blood on the door, it looks like.
Okay, can you see him down the street at all?
There looks like something's going on in the house across the street.
Police say Murr was forced back into the basement and shot in the head by Daniel Rogers. Court documents also tell us it was Darren Cox who helped Rogers dismember Preston's body to cover the crime.
Knowing what you know about what happened and what took place, how does it feel being in there?
It feels like it's somebody else's place. Like you've got this uneasy feeling about it.
Murr's death created a haunted legend. This two-story structure is now known as the Murder House, drawing attention from visitors all over, something Deanne Davis and her daughters are all too familiar with.
A lot of people are very afraid of that house, and some swear it is haunted. And I've had so many people come by and want tours of that house.
A jury convicted Daniel Rogers of first-degree murder. He's now serving a life sentence at the Idaho Correctional Center, and his parole was denied back in 2005. Darren Cox was convicted of an accomplice to murder. He spent 6 years behind bars. Reporting in Ada County, Jennifer McGraw, KBOI 2 News, watching out for you.
What'd you think about that, Krevy?
Yeah, I never really heard that story before.
Yeah, Linden and Leadville. So, in 2004, this house was already abandoned. I get the feeling they have trouble keeping tenants. Because like I said, it's never looked any better than that. It's always looked bad.
Yeah.
And I remember even driving by, check it out in the chat if anybody is interested. I remember even driving by, I would always get creepy vibes. In fact, just earlier this week, a couple days ago, I was driving by, and it's just one of those, it stands like a shadow over the neighborhood. It just draws your attention no matter what at Linden and Leadville off Broadway in Boise. If you're driving by, you look at this house. It almost feels like something's watching you from the windows. And so I, being a 17 to 18-year-old man trying to keep myself entertained on hot summer nights with nothing better to do, and youthful people willing to follow me in tow for all of the paranormal and supernatural adventures I was willing to go on, decided to investigate all the haunted areas. As I mentioned before, we went out to the veteran cemetery with the Ouija board. Nothing. There's an urban legend that a midnight jogger runs up and down the street parallel to the Caldwell Cemetery. Now, this street has trees lining it about every 15 feet or so, and the legend has it, if you pull in between these trees and park so that your headlights are shining into the cemetery, the midnight jogger will approach your car running without legs and tap on your window and tell you you can't park there.
Oh.
So we went out and tried that. Now that one, when you get out there, it isn't creepy until you arrive at night and you realize that every single tree, like I said, roughly 15 feet apart, bolted into the side of it is a no parking sign on either side. No joke.
Wow.
And not only that, but on top of that, you hardly get a chance to park because there are 2 police officers who patrol that street so that they pass each other halfway and they just drive to the ends, turn around, drive back, and make sure that no one parks there, right? So we try the Ouija board in the foothills, nothing happens. We get to the midnight jogger location out in Caldwell. One of the love interests in the car, one of the young ladies, says the opening prayer to protect us, right? And so we do it. We only sit there for a minute, and then she has to rush through the closing prayer because police are going up and down the street, right?
Yeah.
But we're kind of like, whew, okay, we dodged a bullet in more ways than one. When we go and we park outside of this 1987 Boise murder house, the vibe was different. Nobody guarded this house. There was no patrol. However, we felt more threatened being there than any of the other locations.
Yeah.
And so this young lady says the opening prayer once again. However, as we are sitting there, we notice somebody walking up to the car in the darkness without any light on them. So we just see a shadowy figure coming from the direction of the house. This is enough to freak us out. This is enough to scare us off. This is enough to warrant my buddy who's in the driver's seat to just flip on the ignition, and we bailed, right?
Yeah.
Don't even hang out, because either way, we're underage, we're past curfew, we're kind of not where we should be anyway, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get out of there. However, we forgot to say the closing prayer. And so at that girl's house the next week, when after we had all kind of forgotten about this, all the excitement had died down, we were bored, we're just hanging out. We're sitting in her living room, the one who said the prayers. It was always her job to say the prayers. And they had the family wall of pictures you often see in an apartment or a home. And this had graduation photos of her siblings, family photos, individual pictures of family members, everything. Inexplicably, this is a Meridian apartment on the second floor of only 2 floors, standard apartment. The entire thing, as we sit there watching television, felt like it shifted, like an earthquake, like the apartment itself felt like airplane turbulence. It just suddenly dropped like there was a loss of gravity. And we all kind of felt funny, and we looked at each other and we were like, did you feel that? What is that about? Strange. I don't know. Write it off. Take another sip of beer and move on, right? Mm-hmm. Until we're looking at the family pictures on the wall, and we noticed one of them, no joke, was upside down. This picture was of one particular person of all the pictures on the wall. And it just so happened to be that girl who didn't say the closing prayer.
Oh.
And now this, after we had teased the demonic gods, or whatever dark entities might be out there with Ouija boards at cemeteries, we went and we were chased off by police at cemeteries. And then after encountering whatever this shadowy figure outside of this house, right about here, as a matter of fact, because there's a street here and a street here. I know you can't see at home, but there's an intersection right here. So right about here, the shadowy figure came out, and that's when the strange things happened to us. This house stands to this day, and I'm not the only one with weird stories. I've never set foot in this house, but I'm not the only one. For 30 years, over 30 years now, this house has stood, being known as the Boise Murder House.
Wow.
That is my campfire story for the evening. Thank you.
That's good. No, that actually got me on the edge of my seat a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
We should go ahead.
I never want to go near that house now.
Oh, well, yeah. that kind of negates what I was about to say next. Is I was going to say we should go there.
Let's film a music video in it.
Hey. I'm sorry, Mama.
Yeah.
But we could, speaking of, we do 5 Mile, and then we go and we do skeletons in the closet or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I do want to go back to Granger and 5 Mile with you, just because I think that'll be fun. At some point, like if we're ever out for lunch or something, we should go just to see the old spot, you know.
Yeah.
I did drive by and notice that the mailbox that I hit when I was about 14 years old and I was first learning to drive, I didn't know how to back up yet, totally took out this mailbox. And I stood it up without, alerting anyone to the mishap, and it stands to this day. I noticed that mailbox is, so, yeah, thankfully nobody ever noticed. Similar to the murder house, that mailbox will outlast all of us.
However you did it, you've got the hands for it. You fixed it perfectly.
Fixing mailboxes. Yep. Yeah, some people peak in high school. I had the right path and I didn't take it. Do you have any campfire stories you'd like to share with us tonight?
Oh, man. I do, but it doesn't compare to yours. Maybe it will. I can tell one real quick.
Feel free.
All right. So, back probably a good amount, like probably about 7-ish years ago. Similar thing, kind of fresh out of high school. As a kind of a precursor, or not precursor, as a warning to anybody listening, this is not paranormal. This is all real, unfortunately for some of you. But not too long after high school, move out, and me and my roommate, we're starting to really indulge in some plant-based pharmaceuticals. And this is at a time where it wasn't as easily accessible, per se. And so we used to get our supply from this gentleman that we never knew the name of, but we always nicknamed him Q. It just sounded cool. I think I was just listening to a lot of Schoolboy Q at the time as well. Everything, this just getting our stuff from the same guy for a good year or so. Until one day, waiting for him to come pop up where we live and, get what we need. Next thing you know, one of the texts I get is, hey, when you get out here, get in my car. I was like, oh, that's a little weird. He's never said that before, but all right, why not? So, routine was going to the backseat of his car, make the transaction per se, and then go on my way. But I opened up the back seat, and there was plastic wrap, just wrapped all over the back of this dude's pimped out Escalade. And immediately, I was like, I have no options. I have to get into this car now. It's too late. So I get in, shut the door. It's dead silent. Next thing, I look up at him in the front seat. He's looking at me with what I presume, a fully loaded pistol right in my face. And I had no idea why. Until it was concluded that within our year or so of transactions, he picked up a constant of how the bills, like the dollar bills, were serialized. When you get them from like ATM machines, they share very similar serial numbers just because they deposit, equally. And he was like, you're telling me why are you getting them from ATM machines like that? That's not how you do it. And also at the time, I drove a 92 Classic Caprice. And if any of you don't know, that's what police used to drive.
It's a beautiful vehicle.
I miss that thing. That's what the cops used to drive. And so in his head, I'm giving him these traceable bills. I'm driving what a cop used to drive. And he's like, you're putting together an investigation on me. All this with a gun pointed at my head. And I was like, hey man, look at me. If anyone knows what I look like, I don't look like I'd be a cop. Even back then, not even remotely close. And just scared out of my mind, just trying to convince this dude, hey, I'm not here against you. Like, I'm not building nothing. I just want to get my medication and get on out. I just want to go back inside. And definitely just one of the most horrifying experiences I could probably say, and I wish I could say it was paranormal, but the fact it was real, I'd say that's a pretty creepy on its own.
That's almost worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction comes to mind if you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm glad it didn't go any other way than that. That's a decent campfire story because the threat was real. And for those of you listening at home, no, Krevas doesn't look like a police officer. If Krevas was a police officer, it would be like the smart ass one in some 90s TV show, perhaps. Not a main character, but another guy around the station. Typically, never closed-toed shoes. His allegiance to the law is questionable. He might just be in it for the evidence stashes. And that's a compliment.
I agree. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
You're deep undercover. You're the deep undercover guy.
I'm rooted.
You're the one they just stopped asking to wear a uniform because they knew it was never going to happen.
Yep.
Like the Big Lebowski of police officers.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
You're the dude with a badge.
Dude. Yep.
Yeah, you're the dude with a badge. Well, we hope you enjoyed the campfire stories we shared tonight. If you have any campfire stories, please let us know in either the chat or you can hit me up at treecity.krbx@gmail.com. I'll drop that in the chat as well, treecity.krbx@gmail.com. Let us know your creepy campfire stories. Do you have any campfire stories? We have an entourage here in the studio. We're looking around for any more creepiness. Okay, no more creepiness. Let's get back to some tunes real quick. We're going to close out this hour. Thanks for hanging with us. It's a late night. We're filling in a second hour. This is the Tree City 1 a.m. Campfire Stories Summer Series launch, the inaugural episode 1. Krevy's staying here late, and we appreciate it. Let's hit some tunes, and then we'll wrap up this hour here in a few minutes. We made it.
We're alive.
We did the thing. We survived the night. Regardless of how creepy it got. Mosquitoes aren't bad here in the basement. Virtual campfire was nice. It was great having you here. Thanks to everyone who could be here, both on mic and otherwise. Krevas of Farsighte Music once again.
Mm-hmm. Just a few quick announcements, just in case anyone missed any. Granger 5 Mile Edition, 5-year anniversary tomorrow, technically. You got Mr. Turn That coming out sometime in August. Date will be announced at some point. And then we got my Sun Will Set Another Day project, which is going to be a big one. That's coming out July 25th on my birthday. That one's definitely going to be a cool one to tune into. Aside from that, shouts out Farsighte. Shout out to Pleasantville. Shout out to Adam for having me on here and doing this with him. It's been amazing. Shout out to my lovely girlfriend for accompanying me, being my moral support. Shout out to my mother, because she's awesome and she loves this type of stuff. And yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad to be a part of something cool with you, man. This is cool.
Oh, definitely. You're welcome back anytime. You're one of my favorite people. And I'd love to sit with you around a campfire and talk about creepy. I just saw someone behind you. No joke, bro.
I saw you. You look.
I just saw someone behind you. So, we're keeping it real. We're keeping it fun. It's 3 a.m. It's 3:05, as a matter of fact. We're way over time right now. We're still hanging in the studio. I've been creeped out in this place before. This place is genuinely haunted. We're in the basement of the Alaska Center in the heart of Boise, Idaho, 1020 West Main Street, and this place is haunted. I've seen stuff move around before. Typically when I'm here by myself, I just saw it again. I'm getting the chills, and we're getting the hell out of here. So sign us off there, my man Krevas. Send us home so we can be safe tonight.
Thanks for listening to Tree City at 1 a.m. on KRBX 83.5.
You were doing great. 89.9, 93.5 FM. Say it with me. Caldwell, Boise, and beyond.
And beyond.